My name is George Edmondson. I own a video production company here in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. We do all kinds of video productions. There's me, by the way. And so we do documentaries, we do commercials. We've worked with Coach Saban, a lot of the football players over there at the University of Alabama. But the way it started is essentially, without going too deep into the details, I grew up homeless. So I ended up living in a car, a tent, for a little bit of time early in my life, and then I moved to a homeless shelter in Tuscaloosa. So that's how I ended up here. During that time, I really got into skateboarding. And if anyone in here skateboards or knows anything about skateboarding, you know that skateboarders love to film themselves doing tricks. And so that's how I got into video production. I didn't know that it was gonna be a career. I worked several jobs, did a bunch of different things throughout my life. And then I had an opportunity to make a video for the company that I worked for, and they paid me separately. They paid me for the video production, and I made a decent amount of money doing that. And my wife looked at the check, and it was her idea. She said, "You need to start a video production company." Never in my life did I think that I was going to be doing something that I loved and would also get paid for it. So that's kind of how I got into it. But now we do stuff. We have clients all over the world. We've got two of the guys back there, Nick and Dawson, kind of running the camera. So we're filming this. We kind of film everything that we do. But I've done some pretty unique things. I've filmed some pretty weird things. I filmed a facelift one time. That was super disgusting. But also, I'm a YouTuber for a company in Poland. So how random is that? But I get to make videos for a company based out of Poland, and they put my face on YouTube and they pay me for it. So it's pretty cool. Sure, so I kind of touched on that a little bit, but what inspired me, honestly, was to make money. That's what inspired me. I needed to make money because I had a family that I had to take care of, and the job that I had, I was not making enough money. So that was my number one inspiration to start this company. Because here's the deal, I was already doing videos for fun. I was already doing that because I loved it, but I had no intention of starting a company because I didn't even think of it. And so when my wife, had the idea, I was terrified. I really leaned on her faith more than my own and my abilities to create a company, be able to take care of my family, provide a lifestyle for my family that I could not, have ever thought. Yeah, ultimately that is what inspired me. But what has inspired me to continue growing, in all truthfulness, is also trying to provide opportunities for other people that I did not have myself. And so because I've been able to be successful with video production, I've also been able to provide jobs. Like I said, there's a couple guys back there. We've got some guys at our studio editing videos right now. We have a guy that works remotely in Nashville, Tennessee, but he's full-time. And that inspires me to keep going because I want to be able to help other people. I want to be able to help other people help themselves. There are a lot of people out there that are interested in doing video production, doing YouTube, doing, just lighting and sound and things like that. And when I was kind of coming up, there was not really anyone that I knew of in Tuscaloosa that was providing opportunities to people who were interested in that field. And so that inspires me to keep going. What advice I would give? Honestly, like I said, I never in my wildest dreams thought that I would be able to make videos for a living and provide the lifestyle that I've been able to provide for myself, for my family, and for others. So my advice, if you have something that you are in love with right now, that you are passionate about, that seed, and we are called Seed Creative, and that's intentional, but that seed was planted in you by someone or by something, and look into ways to make a career out of it. You would be a lot happier making less money and doing something you love than following a traditional path and it being something that you weren't built to do. And so that's my advice. If you are into gaming, look into careers that are surrounding in gaming. My son loves basketball. He is super short. We already know he ain't going to be in the NBA or going to be in, that's not going to happen. But He loves basketball so much that he is looking for other opportunities in the world of basketball that he can pursue to make a career. So there's a lot of opportunities out there. You just have to go find them and be passionate about what you do. I had a friend that I wanted to do a documentary on. He had struggled with some addiction and was able to get sober because of a camera, because he fell in love with photography. And so I pursued him for a long time until he finally said, okay, I'll let you make this little short documentary. I made this short documentary. It does really well on social media. A lot of people find it inspiring. And the Arts Council here in Tuscaloosa sees it, and they come to me and they say, hey, we have this artist that's making some really cool stuff down in Montgomery for the state of Alabama, and we would love to do a short documentary on that. So I'm like, okay, cool. We start talking about it. The state of Alabama finds out about this, and the state of Alabama basically says to Tuscaloosa, hey, scoot over, we'll take care of this. So they come to us and they say, hey, we want you to make that documentary, but with the state of Alabama backing that so that we can actually follow this artist for an entire year. And so I'm like, okay, cool. I have to make a documentary about someone that's making these pieces of art that's going in Montgomery. I'm gonna be following them for a year. And I've never made a documentary before, not really. And I don't have the greatest cameras in the world. I have okay cameras, but this is still somewhat early as I'm building my business, and so they're not great. April Fool's Day of 2019, I release a silly little video, and it goes viral. And a man sees it in Hollywood, California. His name is Jared Land, and he says that he loves this video, that it brought him a lot of joy. And he says, you know what? Any camera that we make, you can have it. And I'm like, okay, who is this guy? I go and look, and he is the president and CEO of a company called Red Digital Cinema. So if anyone knows anything about cameras, that is a high-end Hollywood-style camera. The camera that he gave me for free was valued at the time around $50,000. And he gave it to me right before we started that documentary. It's pretty awesome. It's back there in the back if Nick wants to point to the one. So that camera right there, the CEO of that company gave us that camera for free. I got to get out to Hollywood and meet him. It was really awesome. But he gave us that camera 2 weeks before we started the documentary. So I was able to shoot this documentary, something I had never done before, feature-length documentary, on this brand new Red camera. It's so awesome because I followed my gut and I made this other small documentary for free. But the coolest part about all of this, and one of the reasons that documentary is one of my favorite things we ever made, is because that resulted in our first Emmy. So we are a multi-Emmy winning video production company. And the very first Emmy that we won was because of that documentary that we made. And so that will always be one of my favorite stories to tell. That will always be one of my favorite projects because I learned a lot through that process. I learned how to make a documentary. I learned how to tell stories, and I got a camera out of it, which was pretty freaking cool. So yeah, sure. So I touched on this a little bit earlier, but if you're nervous, if you're scared, you are so young. You have so much time left to make mistakes. It's not going to make as big of an impact in your life as you think it is to try to do something that you love, that you're passionate about, or, you know, pursue something. You may learn about something up here today that has inspired you and you're like, that sounds awesome. I want to go underwater. Like, that sounds really cool. You know, pursue it. Why not? You're young. It's not going to hurt anything to follow something that you're passionate about. You have plenty of time to make up for that. So that's what I would say. Don't be scared. There's nothing to be scared about. You're going to be okay. And then the steps that I would say, kind of touched on it earlier, but start building those relationships now because you are about to step into the real world that a lot of you may have seen it before. You may think that you know, but most of you don't know yet. Not all of you, but most of you, the real world is completely different from what it looks like on YouTube. Trust me, I know I make YouTube videos. And so I would say start building those relationships now. Start talking to people. I have a super cool story really quickly about a young guy. His name is Gavin, and he reached out to us when we came. We did some filming at one of the schools here, and he was the only student that was there at that school that really seemed to have a genuine interest in video production. Not only did he have an interest, he found a mistake we were making, he called us out on it, and he fixed it because of a way that we were filming, and that made a big difference to me. And then he emailed me, and I did not respond, and then he emailed me again. He was persistent, and I responded. Let's fast forward through some time. We ended up giving him an internship, then he got a paid internship, then he did co-op, and then he came and worked for us full-time for several years right out of high school. And he now has a full-time job working with someone that we were able to get him partnered up with one of our clients who needs a lot of content, a lot of video production. And he works over there full-time making Instagram videos and YouTube videos and things for them. And he's collecting footage for a project that we're trying to work on. So he built that relationship when he was 16 years old. He's 16. He had just turned 16. And he is still a friend of ours to this day, and he's making videos and doing what he loves, and that's his full-time job. So build those relationships. That's my advice.